today we heard two very impressive voices from Madame Chorbaji.
More than 70% of the population still need some form of humanitarian aid.
When I was doing a series on the battle for liberal, it has been a really rough year, as you say. It's one of those years where every time you think you've hit rock bottom, you hear a kind of faint tapping sound down below. And there are times when I've wondered whether I've got the worst inbox in the world. But of course, what we go through here is nothing compared to what the communities we're serving are going through. And it's their voices we need to put at the heart of this response. Look, we reckon the support is out there. I don't think there is less support for kindness, compassion, global solidarity than there was just because of the results of a few elections. Now, I hope that governments will step up and fill this space, but I hope we can also build this wider movement of citizens that will back that work. And yes, of course, I'll be rattling the can all week. Conversations with traditional donors, including our US friends, but also with new emerging donors and private sector, civil society, and the public at large.
Europe is actually saying it wants to step up its aid work at the European level. And what's significant is that it's not going to be victim to short-term cycles. We've got 7 years of aid at a time that the European Union pledges, and it's now discussing aid from 28 till 35. And so there's a real opportunity for Europe. It can't match the US aid level because of the size of the US package. It's going to be damaging. But Europe is going to step up, and it needs others to do so as well. And we haven't seen that yet. What we're saying is we can no longer do everything that aid's trying to do. Only 25% of the global aid budget goes on health and humanitarian. By the way, those are the most popular parts of the aid budget. They need to be increased because we just have to meet the needs of the most desperate at this time.
You discussed USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent.
I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the request for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. We have closed the USAID group to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, which was tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse.
There was some continuity. There were obviously very, very severe cuts as they went through their review, and of course all of us are waiting with bated breath to see the results of that review. I was in Washington at the weekend and had good conversations about potential areas of engagement, cooperation, partnership. So I'm not giving up at all on a good proportion of that funding coming back, but those are often obviously decisions for the US administration. But in the meantime, we can't wait. And so that's why we're appealing for this support to save over 100 million lives in all of these trouble spots that I've been visiting this year. I've just come back from Haiti, I've been in Gaza, I've been in Goma, I've been up and down Syria, I was in Mandalay just after the earthquake, I was in Afghanistan, all of these crisis areas that are desperately in need of support, and where the overall funding we've received so far this year is 19% of what we actually need.
More than 2 million IRC clients have lost services. Boys and girls in Afghanistan are not getting education today because of US aid cuts. Refugees from Sudan into South Sudan are not getting health services because of US aid cuts. So we know the price of this. Equally, we know that the US remains the largest aid donor in Sudan, and they continue to support us with life-saving services. So our message is very clear. Aid has impact, aid needs reform, aid needs the US. And we have a very clear agenda that says to the US government, we can respect your determination to achieve reform, we can respect your determination to achieve value for money. Let's work together to make sure that for a very small slice of American income, we're able to do outsized good in the world.
زي ما كانت
ترجع
وديها طلع وديها على الخيمة طلع وديها على الخيمة اللي قاعدة على
سادة بطلعها دقيقة واحدة بس عشان ايدها اليمين معلقة.
Remember the first lines of the UN Charter. We the peoples of the United Nations. And the people are having to step up because governments are in retreat. And we're saying to the governments, follow the solutions, because the people are showing what they can be.
There will be a sense of multilateralism and the global system pushing back and demonstrating why it is so necessary. The UN, these institutions, are under sustained attack, but they were not built for the easy times. They were built for the hard times by a generation that had seen the cost to all of us of division, polarization, radicalization, and ultimately of massive global conflict. So at the sort of big level, I hope that's a real message that comes through, not just in speeches, but actually it's show not tell, that we're demonstrating that we can end some conflicts, save some lives. And then on the humanitarian side, I'm hoping we'll get backing for the humanitarian reset, reforming the system, regrouping among ourselves, but also renewal. Not just defending what we do, but imagining what we can be in the future. So I hope it's the week when the UN really fights back, but when you get that sense of practical problem solving, global solidarity.
I think that this is a UN General Assembly that is more important, not less important, because you have a China saying we're the future of the multilateral system. You have a US saying we're putting America first. There's a void to be filled here. And I think that while for Americans the UN can seem like bureaucracy or traffic jams in New York, for the rest of the world, they're looking for leadership, and that's what we're calling for next week.
Network 18 decimates Time's internet with over 6 times more unique users on social media. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.